At this point, I don't even know what's going on. Like, I am so baffed over this chapter. Like, everything that people wanted is basically happening and some. Like, no lie. When I read the spoilers for this week's chapter, I was just like, I was shocked, obviously. At this point, reading the chapter, shit has just escalated past the point of like, I don't even know what's gonna happen. Like, once again, Ishida is building a fight, and we get to witness a little bit of a portion of a fight so goddamn high that anything regarding an ending for these characters, all four of them, is completely in the open. Like, there is no telling who could win, who could lose. Like, it's just powers are coming out that we haven't seen before. Characters are getting development that we've been waiting for so long, and at the same time, it's incredible. Like, it's like everyone that reads this chapter or reacts to this chapter is going to be like, holy fuck, this is insane. Like, this is a chapter people have wanted for so goddamn long, and next week's chapter is probably just gonna be as good because we're gonna back this chapter up with everything that happened. I'm gonna get rid of the small stuff first. So realistically, Kaneki has actually left Ayato, which, I mean, I'm not even gonna go there. You guys know my, ill feelings towards that, if you will. So he's going in this different direction. I guess obviously going to look for the core of this entire thing, and he stumbles across Furuta, and Furuta's kind of shocked that Kaneki is still alive. The usual Furuta monologue we get, which is him just being so extra. He's just overreacting to everything, or just trolling, or whatever it may be. But he's looking at Kaneki and he's like, holy hell, you're still alive, what? And then Kaneki has the most calmest reaction to this. Like, he's just like, ugh, what is that, Furuta? Like, what? That thing's freaky. Like, now I don't know what Furuta's doing. Like, what? He looked like he was trying to climb up something, so I don't know if he's being attacked. And I want to say that lightly, just because when I seen the chapter, he looks like pressed hard. Like, he looks like he's stressing out. Like, and he turns around and sees Kaneki. He's like, oh shit, like, this isn't good. Like, here we go. But just think of this, right? Just imagine, like, Kaneki walks into a situation where Rize, which we seen a while back regarding Furuta and V. Could you imagine if she finally got out of this thing? Or she started just going blitzo on Furuta, and Furuta here, knowing his character, is like trying to dodge it and just like trying to talk to her or calm her down or something, just being the troll that he is. So like, he's climbing around these obstacles or whatever, and then Kaneki rocks up and he's just like trying to dodge these attacks, which is just like, oh okay, like these could kill me in one hit. And then you see Kaneki and it's like, oh, this is fun, this is going to be interesting. So I'm excited to see what is actually going on. Like, what is Furuta doing, man? Like, he's just chilling, being himself, being goofy old Furuta. So I'm guessing we're going to get a lot more of that in the upcoming chapter. But the bread and butter, this is what you want. This is what we've all been waiting for. Donato versus Armon. I'm going to start off with this because this is, I mean, each to their own. Whatever fight you like at the moment is perfectly fine because they're both great. Like, they're both extremely well done. Armon in this chapter, right? Not even in a full KAKUJA or whatever, pulling out the big guns, right? Straight away. Like, this chapter in itself showcases how far Armon has truly come, because he's always had this problem kind of manipulating and using his Kagane to a degree, as he had to kind of teach himself. And just to see how far he has come, right? Because he uses this Quinque and then he kind of wraps it in his Kagane, but when he throws it, he's not necessarily using the strength of just his like ghoul side, if you will. It's kind of like he's using his Kagane as like a propelling point as well. It's like helping him get more leverage and more speed and velocity. So when it hits Donato, right? Because Donato puts up this mad shield and he's like, oh, okay, cool, easy. I'm just gonna block this thing. And then it just pierces through the shield, through Donato, and then flies like another good 50 to 100 meters and smashes into this building. Now, obviously, Quinques are like a big weakness for ghouls, so that in itself is a big point, because obviously, if you can entwine a Kagane or your usage of a Kagane with a Quinque, it's pretty brutal, and we're showcasing it right now. Donato was pretty confident. He knew it was a Quinque. He wasn't going in blind, but yet there was so much power behind this throw from Armon that it just obliterated him, which was like the coolest thing to see, because Armon's getting a bit more technical now. He's getting smarter with his decisions, and he's always been one of those characters that is very, I guess, smart with how he fights, and he's very like strict, and he's got all these intricate moves that aren't excessively overwhelming, but just very dialed and detailed. So seeing this come out of Armon is incredible. Like, I'm so glad we got this one panel, because it just showcases everything that he is right now, and the bigger and better things to come from him, I'm super excited for. You know, the KAKUJAs, the big Kagane usage abilities, whatever, but we are only realistically just getting started. Donato doesn't go down that easy, however. It does pierce through him, he does kind of cop an L, but it seems like the other clowns, Nico and Itori, or at least Nico in this instance, is playing support. This is interesting as well, because I don't have we seen Nico's abilities? I honestly don't remember. I'm blanking on the whole idea, but he heals Donato. At least that's what it seems like. You see Nico in the background throwing kissy hearts as he does, and his Kagane is kind of leeching into the back of Donato and I guess healing him. And at first I was like, oh, imagine if Nico was the puppeteer, And then I was kind of like, oh, well, maybe he's actually just got a healing ability of some sort, which is pretty interesting in itself. So just subtle stuff like that is really cool to see. Like, the clowns aren't necessarily just stepping off from one each other and letting them fight. It's like there is a supporting role there. Technically, Armon and Renji are fighting all the clowns right now. So with that being said, we could very well expect Takizawa and Kurona, Takizawa versus, Itori, or, Kurona versus Itori and Nico, whatever. Like, you get the gist. There's clowns there that can be fought now because we're seeing a little bit more of the supporting roles, at least from Nico's side. Itori's kind of still in the midst, but she may make her move soon. I honestly don't know. She seemed kind of confused and conflicted in this chapter, the panels we've seen of her, and that's definitely because of the whole Uta and Renji past that they share. So I guess she doesn't like seeing it to a degree. Before I get onto that, Donato kind of reacts in a very interesting way, because when he was hit with this spear, right, the monster that he's controlling slowly loses power, right? Not fully, just like a portion of it. So I was correct in that aspect in saying that there was a portion of power that is away from Donato because he's controlling this monster. However, I belittled him way too much, because the instant he gets back up, he's got these clones already behind Armon, like wrapping around and grappling him, and like the words he's saying to Armon is just like the most grimmest thing, like the perfect thing Donato could say basically, and just smashes him with these piercing Kagenes. So the way Donato fights is actually really interesting. Like, he's a manipulative character, he's crafty, and the fact that, he was kind of fighting Armon head to head, but now it's kind of like he's making other clones to make up for like the destructive power that Armon has. So I'm curious to see how Armon handles these techniques coming out from Donato, and how crafty Donato truly gets, because I feel like at this point Donato may not be a character that necessarily needs a full KAKUJA, considering the other fight that's going on right now, but that does not mean that Donato will not go down without a very interesting fight, and by the looks of it, it's only getting better and better. I'm hoping Armon goes into a full KAKUJA or uses something that's equivalent to it to, give him that boost, to give him that edge. Last but not least, Uta versus Renji is literally gonna be like everyone's favorite fight. Like, I mean, sure, you like the Donato and Armon, but fucking Uta in this panel, in the final page, going into a full KAKUJA form was literally the coolest thing I've seen. Like, it's undeniable that we have been waiting for something like this for such a long time, and when we get it, it's like this very odd, obscure KAKUJA that he's forming. Like, Uta isn't holding back, and neither is Renji Yomo. Like, Uta's still playing the side of the clowns. We get a lot more clarification with that. We're slowly peeling back these layers of Uta that have been, wrapped in mystery for a very long time, and just to peel back a little bit, he talks about the clowns a little bit and the purpose of humans and ghouls, and how the human world is not a ghoul world. Basically, your ghouls can never be loved like humans and treated like humans, and etc, etc. You get the gist. So the clowns, to kind of make up for everything that they're missing, play the quote-unquote fool on stage, which I thought was a very nice touch. We got a lot of panels with Uta and Renji as well, like actually brawling out with each other, which I thought was pretty cool. Renji's playing the side, obviously, of like, you are my friend, I don't want to kill you or be killed by you, and Uta just bursts out laughing, like almost similar to Furuta in that aspect, where it's just like this massive troll. As soon as Renji says that, Uta decides to use his full KAKUJA and get serious. Like, the words he says, right? Like, get this: I've wanted to eat you for so long, make me feel alive, Renji. Like, I have no words to explain that. Like, Uta is really becoming a character that is just incredible, right? This chapter in itself. So I'm hoping that there's so much more to back it up. I'm hoping there is, a backstory or events that led Uta to kind of think this way. I'm not going to say his ideas are warped. They're actually based in reality really, really well, but his drive towards Renji Yomo is very personal, and I like this a lot, because it makes this a more personal fight between them, friends slash enemies slash whatever you want to call it at this point. But it's actually a really cool thing to see. I think the last thing I want to mention is the quote-unquote Hindu mythology that is littered throughout this entire episode. As you know, Ishida has been playing on Hindu mythology for quite a bit now, the Naga serpent being the first big thing. And then we found out about V, right, which V is known as Vasuki, which is also a Naga serpent, but I guess in the story it's only as a concept, not as a literal dragon. There is two other people, or two other beings I should say, that play a part in the Hindu mythology, and I believe Uta is one of them, because I'm looking at his Kagane, right? Like, his body's not changed at all. Like, you're seeing all of his tattoos, like fully unclothed. The man's jacked as fuck. But what's interesting is how his Kagane or KAKUJA forms out of his head. That's what it looks like to me, at least. It looks like it's forming, maybe not out of his eyes, but just in general, like it just covers his eyes, realistically. One, that's crazy. Two, his KAKUJA looks very similar to both the monster and Armon, with the whole traitless knuckle situation on the back, or the wings slash appendages, whatever you want to call it. That kind of goes down the whole recapsules, artificially procedurally created ordeal, which I'm not necessarily going to get into because I've already talked about that on multiple different occasions, but I thought I'd mention it because that was the first thing I noticed. Like, oh wow, his KAKUJA is not as crazily unique as like ETO'S or, you know, Takizawa or whatever. So there should be traits in there. There should be, at least for Uta, you would think. But then again, it kind of conflicts well with his character because he's considered no face. So now why it's forming from its eyes, I don't necessarily know. This is the first for us, I believe. So I just want to throw the idea out there. But for a while now, I've been saying that maybe Uta's face isn't actually his. Like that's not Uta since the beginning. He's either face swapped his own, or maybe he's faceless to begin with. I think that'd be a very like interesting twist to put on, you know what I mean? If not, maybe his Uta face is kind of just a more morphed version of his original, so he can't get traced back, quote unquote, to the potential, here it is, original One-Eyed King idea, which I know people are sick of hearing, but you know, it's so prevalent at this point, it's wild. But regarding the Hindu mythology and what Uta could represent in Hindu mythology, it's a thing known as Takshaka, I believe. So there's like 3 of them. There's like Vasuki, there's Takshaka, and there's like another one. I can't remember what it's called. Basically, they're all Nagas, right? But they're specifically paired into 3, like at least these 3. I can't remember what the other one's called. So Vasuki and Takshaka, or however you pronounce it. And basically, they worship a higher being, which is Shiva, which could easily be depicted as Rize. But the interesting thing about these 3 things is that Vasuki, like I said, is a Naga, but in concept, at least in the story, regarding the V organization. And then you have Takshaka, which could realistically implement the evil of snakes, is what it's kind of labeled as. And that could easily be Uta. And then the last one was like good in snakes, I guess you will, like the friendly one, the manipulative one, if you will, feeds the snakes and uses them and everything along the sword. So I thought that might have been Furuta. So it makes sense to be like Furuta, the V organization, and Uta. Now, just an idea. I'll probably go into a lot more detail in another video, so I look forward to that. But I thought I'd just mention it. It's very interesting because, you know, Uta's tattoos are literally littered with snakes and representations of gods and the sun and the skull and the cross. And there's like a fox looking thing which is entwined by snakes, which actually could be something related to Shiva, if you will, snakes entwined around Shiva. And Shiva could be Rize, theoretically. So that's basically it. There's a lot here. There's a lot of information. This chapter was absolutely incredible. I absolutely loved it. I am so excited to get more of this. I swear, Ishida, if you skip away from this, like you did with the Kaneki Suzuya fight, a whole different scenario, but I mean, just please, well, let's see what this is. Everyone wants to see this unravel. Everyone wants to see Donato and Armon and Uta and Renji just fight it out. And like this chapter so far, just showcasing the early stages of it was incredible, right? It only gets better from here, and worse in cases, not worse in story writing, but like death wise, because I don't know how strong Donato is. Completely underestimated him, but then again, Armon's got some mystery to him as well. Uta is just on a whole different scale at this point. I don't even know what he is. So I'm excited to see how Ishida handles this, how we kind of implement the Kaneki stuff as well. And you know, Ayato is now split by himself, so I mean, I ain't even gonna mention that. I'm salty, but whatever. With that being said, I'm actually going to end the video here. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.